Alright, so I'm enjoying all the shenanigans going on with all the back and forth videos I see. It's good entertainment at this point, right? Gives me something to do on my drive. But there is something that you never hear really discussed between the two different so-called sides of dog training, right? And that is the imagination of a lot of these force-free trainers on what takes place, or how trainers like myself actually teach things and train, right? It always comes back to tools. Always. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I made a comment on, I think it was on the leader of the free force-free world, one of his videos. And someone commented to me on there, how she or he, I can't remember it, has rescued over 40 dogs and this and that and never had to use e-collars to train it. Everyone becomes righteous in their religious ideology, right? Because they want to feel good about themselves. Or him himself, I think, was talking about like a grizzly bear or something that they trained in a way to accept taking medication or give needles or something by just submitting to it by using food or shaping. I don't know, something to that effect. Basically, there was no force used. If force doesn't have to be used on a 800-pound grizzly bear that can eat a human, why do we have to use force on dogs? Again, it goes back to what they imagine trainers like myself, versatile trainers, do. Trainers that are willing to do what it takes to truly help the animal for long-term results, and for the people that actually own that animal, where the animal lives, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's talk about, many of you have seen Krohn, the German Shepherd I've done a couple board and trains with, right, over the past year or two. Now, Krohn was a very, very strong dog. He definitely had some anger issues, some aggression issues towards people, and, a little out of control. And although his owners are very capable, very intelligent, this is their 6th German Shepherd, they are in their 80s. So you guys saw most of the things that I did with Krohn. Many of you have anyway. At no time was anything ever taught to that dog with the use of a prong collar, with the use of an e-collar, with the use of force. Nothing is taught with that. Nothing. Everything was taught with food and play, with a ball and a rope. And at one point, even though Krohn was doing fantastic, one of the things that they just assumed they would never be able to get him to do, he had to be sedated whenever he went to the vet to get his nails done. They couldn't do his nails, okay? So now even the vets that they would go to, which promote force-free training, how did they try to cut his nails? By restraining him, muzzling the dog, restraining him with several people, and just cutting the nails. That's not even close to being force-free, okay? Not even close. So I showed a video, several small segments that I filmed very short sessions of me doing his nails with a Dremel, a very scary, loud, machine-operated tool, right? Did I use any force in that? No. Was there a prong collar involved? No. Was there an e-collar involved? No. Did I have to restrain the dog? No. But you see, the force-free side imagines that that's what we do. So how did I get him to allow me to cut his nails with no issues? Well, for one, I kind of shaped it. If I know that grabbing his leg, but again, I show it. I actually show the work, unlike a lot of people on that side. So I showed. Is it the greatest video? Is it edited and well done? No. Do I have 3 million followers? No. Do I have all this production equipment? No, and I have no interest in that. I showed it with my iPhone, music playing in the background, me in my garage, lighting's not good, but I showed how I did it. So if I know Krohn has a hard time with anyone going near his feet, and he actually doesn't let him, I know he's going to let me, even though he doesn't want me to, because he trusts me. I had that relationship with him because I built it. I built the trust. I built the bond with that dog. Not with the use of a prong collar, not with the use of an e-collar, by connecting with the animal in a way that the animal understands. So now, when I go to touch his leg for the very first time, and he kind of pulls away and like, yeah, he doesn't like that, now I know where we start. Okay, not a problem. Now I have food on me, right? And I start super, super slow. I move my hand toward his leg, halfway there, mark it and reward, because we already have a very strong marker system in place, right? I do that several times. I just move my hand toward his leg, mark and reward, and that becomes normal to him very quickly. And to make a long story short, okay, by the end of that first session, I believe, now I just touch his foot real quick, I mark and reward, and the very first time I actually touch his foot with my whole hand, I mark it and I take out a surprise ball on a rope behind me and we play tug. Big, nice surprise reward, right? At no time is there any force involved. Much less force than a lot of the people on that side claim to use when it comes to clipping a dog's nails, right? So now a dog that has to be sedated for anyone to go near his nails, by day 2 of doing a few short sessions, shaping it with food and play, now when he sits in front of me, by day 2, he's given me his paw. Giving it to me. Here, take it. Allowing me to do his nails with the Dremel. When I sent his owners that video, they immediately called me and used some explicitives and couldn't understand how I got him to do that. See, it wasn't how were you able to cut his nails. It was, how did you get him to actually give you his paw and allow you to cut his nails? Offer it up. Very easy. Well, for one, just like the bear, there was no force involved. I changed his mindset. I changed his perception. Okay? So now if there's prong collars and e-collars used, Krohn came to me, he had already been through other training, and he was already trained on an e-collar, right? Now, if that dog goes to a force-free trainer, maybe they can get him to do the nails the same way he did to me. Not saying no other people can. There's other people that can do the same. A lot of people would definitely fail with that dog. But now, what happens when that dog goes back into that home and his owners are in their 80s and you never utilize any tools, right? You don't give the owners that option and you think you're going to walk around with a cookie in your pouch forever. For one, that dog lives on a leash at best the rest of his life. And the owners would never be able to walk him. They just wouldn't, because he's too strong physically and he's a very, very powerful, high drive, working style German Shepherd. So now after the dog knows everything he has to know, now we could add the tools to provide him that off-leash freedom and control with the owners to where he could live a more fulfilled life. But you see, nothing was taught with those tools like people imagine on that side. Nothing. Not one thing. Not one single thing, but that's what they imagine. So every time people want some kind of battle online and they want to talk about this stuff, and I had a couple of people coming at me from that side yesterday. They did this with no e-collar. They did it. Hey, that's great. I don't teach anything with an e-collar. But by the time that dog's done with me, he's going to be able to run free in the real world, around real world distractions, because of the use of those tools, because of the proper use of the e-collar. And I'm going to get to teach it to him in a way where it never has to be abusive, where the dog's never going to have to fear it. And again, I've shown that thousands of times. How many people on that side can say that, right? Let's look at another dog. Let's look at Ranger, the Corso. Again, another dog many of you have watched. He had a big following. Why? Because I actually showed the work. I showed all of the work. You can go look at it now. You could look at it now. I showed it all. Unlike the leader of the force-free world does. He showed it with a very difficult dog that was going to be put down. Couldn't be around people, period. Couldn't be around people. How did I get that dog not only not to want to bite me, but how did I get him to be crazy about me, to love me, to trust me, to play with me non-stop? How did I do that? Did I do that through force? No. Did I do that with the use of a prong collar or an e-collar? No. That was through, everything was taught with food, like I do with most dogs, when food's rewarding. And my goal with that dog was to get him to play. Now, to be fair to the force-free loons, there were more than several so-called balance trainers who criticized me and sent me messages and wanted to tell me why getting that dog to play or to bite on things was the wrong way to approach this dog. Because, yes, many people live in the dark ages and think that that dog should have got his ass kicked, and you have to show him who's boss. You have to use punishment because punishment stops unwanted behaviors, right? Well, no, not necessarily. I don't. There's more to it than that. That dog never wanted to hurt me anymore, again, because I built the trust. Now, I didn't argue with those balance trainers who said I was an idiot for getting that dog to bite things and play. I just said, well, I guess we'll wait and see. I don't have to argue with someone like that because I know where we're going to get that dog, right? Then other people said, well, how is this going to transfer to other people in the real world? No one ever asks, how does punishment transfer? No one ever asks, how does food transfer? But when it comes to building a dog up and building the relationship and playing with the dog, right away people want to know, how does that transfer? It's crazy, right? Again, I said, well, we'll have to just wait and see. And then you still get updates of that dog that his owner sends out in open parks, not fenced dog parks, real parks, running off leash, playing with strangers. Playing with strangers, okay? How did we get there? Did I use force? Never. Did I teach anything with a prong collar or an e-collar? Never. I never do. There's nothing different. Nothing different. I just built that dog up. Taught everything the way I always do. But again, the force-free world imagines that versatile trainers are using e-collars and prong collars and punishment to teach a dog how to sit, which is ridiculous. Are there people out there that do that? Absolutely. There's certainly abusive assholes out there that we don't want to claim on the versatile side. Believe me, there's a lot of shitbags that call themselves balanced trainers that we want nothing to do with, right? Plenty of them. But the good trainers out there, the great trainers out there, we teach, we show the dog. We show the dog how to do things. We build the bond, we build that relationship, right? The good trainers, the dogs love doing the work, love being with us. But that force-free world, that religious ideology that they stick to so vehemently, I can't even say that word, right? Is because they have that emotional need to feel like a savior. I don't have that. I truly care about the animal like many of my peers do on the versatile side, right? So if you go to my website, which I don't update, and it's not really active. What was the saying I said? I am a purely positive, balanced trainer bursting with versatility. Why is that on there? Why? Because years ago, I got into an argument with the purely positive trainer that wanted to know what kind of trainer I was. I'm a dog trainer. That wasn't a good enough answer for them. no, what kind of trainer are you? I'm a dog trainer. They wanted me to label myself, and they were getting really annoyed. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what kind of trainer I am. I'm a purely positive, balanced trainer bursting with versatility. Oh my God, they were so pissed. There's no such thing. That's impossible. Well, that's what I am, right? I did it to be annoying, but I liked it, and I just kept it because it pissed people off. But in reality, it is fairly accurate in many ways. Now, you'll have your morons out there that see this and want to play semantics. You know, you can't be purely positive, balanced. No shit, asshole. Like, people are so stupid. You know what I mean? But that's just what it is. So again, I've shown the work. Plenty of other great trainers out there have shown plenty of work. But I am yet to see any of these force-free gods show anything truly helping a difficult dog. They talk about it all the time, but please, I want to see it, and I'm not being sarcastic. If it's out there, show us. Show us, because if there's a better way, people like myself, who are full-time students of this incredible, incredible craft, are always open to learn new things. I'm headed to one of my seminars right now that I'll be doing with Joel and Jay, and there's almost always someone from the force-free community that comes to my seminars. Almost always. And almost always they say, you know what? This isn't what I expected. This is what I expected to see. And they convert. They convert all the time, because they imagine something very, very different, and they never get to see that. Okay? So really think about that, guys, because it's a subject that it's not being talked about. We have the battle going and all the videos coming out now, and, you know, Ivan put out an absolutely amazing video. Robert Cabral's been putting out some great stuff, and they want to have the formal conversation. I want nothing to do with that. That's way above me, right? But it's something that we got to start discussing. What do these people imagine most trainers are doing? In their head, it always comes back to tools and force and punishment. And that's just not reality. That's just my 2 cents, okay? Assalamu alaikum.